You know, when I went yachting, I often wore this hat here to keep the sun off my head, and of course we just wore them because, you know, when you get wet, etc., they're quite handy to try and keep you a bit dry. And of course you wore all your sort of weather wear. But you know, when I see these men going out on these ships, I have to admire them. Having been on small ships for quite a lot of my life doing offshore and deep sea sailing, and having been caught in some pretty massive seas and storms in the Indian Ocean, I must tell you that quite frankly it was the most amazing situation when you're caught in those waves, and they're up there like mountains. I just can't tell you, unless you've actually experienced it, and you stand on those decks, and or you hold the wheel, or you hold the tiller outside. It can be quite terrifying on occasions when you see these things heading towards you, and you sincerely pray that the boat will rise and take you over the top. But you know, one of the things that we always had to do to run all the electricity and quite a lot of other things, pumps, etc., that were required, was to run the diesel engine all the time. That was on a yacht. These boats here, of course, run their diesel engine from weeks, sometimes 2, 3, 4 weeks, and you know, everything stems from that. All the power, the energy, the lights, probably the cooking facilities, everything comes from that. The pumps, the hydraulic pumps, etc., all have to come from that one engine, or maybe they've got a donkey engine as well. So that's a very important sort of engine, and they use a lot of fuel. I mean, these are small engines. They're, you know, 24 cylinders or whatever they are. They use a lot of fuel. Now, what we've been looking at and developing are what we call fuel cells, and this gives you an example of what a fuel cell is. There is one there, right there. And this is not as big as that. It's probably a lot smaller, probably no bigger than this one, this small bubbler here. But those are the component parts of that particular fuel cell. And a fuel cell like that produces gases, a gas called Brown's gas, which is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen, that's H2O. And that is sucked through into the engine via the air intakes after the air filter, and then that goes straight into the engine, and it supplements the diesel. So when the piston comes up and it goes to go boom because it's compressing the gases, this stuff inside goes bang far quicker and causes the gases to get warmed up and heat, and therefore you'll use less diesel, and that's how it works. So you're burning more diesel, and then immediately it forms a water vapor straight off, a very small amount of water vapor, which takes out the heat out the engine, and then so the engine then runs slightly cooler. So in my own car and vehicles, where if the gauge is down at say 1/4 past, and then when the fuel cell is on, it's down at say 20 past. So it just shows you that the difference of the engine running cooler. Plus, because you're having to put less diesel in the engine and you're putting more of this stuff in, it helps clean up the engine and keeps it running better. So this is the most fantastic part about H2O. Now, at any one stage, there's no more than a little egg cup full of H2O in the system, or Brown's gas in the system, and so it's never a real threat. And the source of the fuel is water, and through electrolytic action, it converts it into the two gases, the hydrogen and the oxygen. So there's no chance of a fire. Maybe you can use if you ever had a fire, you could use the water to chuck on it and put out the fire. So that's exactly what we're doing. This particular one here shows you development of the fuel cells, where we've got a header tank especially for long trips, and that's got the electrolyte in, and then that keeps these two units down here supplied, and so they can run for quite a long time. You just got to top up that header tank every now and again. Now, you know, I think that there's a lot of people where they've got narrow boats, motorboats, pleasure boats, tugs, etc., could use this, fishing boats, etc., and save themselves a lot of money, and save them up to 40% of their fuel bills. And of course the emissions go right down. I'll give you an example. We put one or two of these fuel cells in a big E-type Mercedes, and the result was that the emissions when we put the tester up was 1.85 prior to the installation of the fuel cell. Once we got the fuel cell in, it dropped down to 0.85. And that was particulates that were not in the system. In other words, they'd been burnt instead of being thrown out. And when it goes, and then a couple of days later, when they retested it and the system had been established for some time, it had dropped even below 0.85, down to about 0.8. So, you know, that was better than 50% savings. So there we are. This is our address and telephone number if you really want to learn more about fuel cells, etc. You've got our international number there. You've got our phone number from the UK. You've got the email address. You've got the website so you can get further information. And it's called Fuel Saver. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from those people who have a big problem with all this fuel consumption and want to save money. You know, if you've got truckers, and some of these truckers are using £3,000 a week, or a couple of $1,000s a week, you can save 1,200 of that by putting in a fuel cell. So the system pays for itself very quickly, very, very quickly. Please go to the site and have a look-see. Thank you very much for your time.